This is, unfortunately, another example of disingenuous reporting.
One of the big media story that broke over the last couple of days is that Vanity Fair did an unbelievable hit piece on Susie Wiles, who's basically she's the White House chief of staff. She's one of the people that has really brought in this incredible team around Trump. It's why there aren't a ton of leaks with this administration. It's why things have been really run in I would say, almost 180-degree different direction than the first time, where there were all sorts of staffing problems and leaks and everything else. So Vanity Fair did a crazy, crazy hit piece on her. So let's start with this from Vanity Fair. One time we spoke while she, Susie Wiles, was doing her laundry in her Washington, D.C. rental. Trump, she told me, has an alcoholic's personality. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte, she said, has been sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. When I asked her what she thought of Musk reposting a tweet about public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, she replied, "I think that's when he's microdosing." Okay, so this article comes out, and immediately, and by the way, this is to the backdrop, I think we covered it about a week ago, New York Times did an insane hit piece on my friend who I mentioned at the top of the show, David Sachs, just about a week ago. And then they got just crushed afterwards with people defending him, saying that it was all based on lies and everything else. Anyway, so this hit piece comes out on Susie Wiles. And of course, nobody's surprised that mainstream media is doing a hit piece on someone that's influential in Trump world, particularly someone who's around him so much and making sure that so much of this is actually working. Anyway, Susie Wiles put this up on the Twitter machine. The article published early this morning is disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, the White House staff, and the cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume after reading it that this was done to paint an overwhelmingly chaotic and negative narrative about the president and our team. The truth is, the Trump White House has already accomplished more in 11 months than any other president has accomplished in 8 years, and that is due to the unmatched leadership and vision from President Trump, for whom I've been honored to work with for the better part of a decade. None of this will stop our relentless pursuit of making America great again.
All right, if you follow politics, you know everyone's got an opinion. Your group chats the pundits, and yes, even me. But on Polymarket, you get something better. Well, maybe not than me, but it's still pretty good. Real odds on what's actually likely to happen. Polymarket is a prediction market where people trade on real events, elections, debates, policy moves, and more. And it doesn't stop at politics. You'll find markets on the economy, tech, sports, pop culture, and even random internet moments that blow up for a week. It's live, transparent, and gives you a legit vibe check on what people really think. You've definitely heard about Polymarket before, so take a second and check it out. Head on over to polymarket.com right now.
It's worth noting that we've all seen this before, right? Like, I always pull off, I won't do it right now, but the New York Times front page thing from 5 years ago, which you can just almost see in the corner right over there, where they called me basically the leader of the alt-right. We know that they lie about everything. I've had reporters reach out to do hit pieces on me where they tell me they're literally talking to people that I haven't spoke to in 10 or 15 years, reaching out to people who claim they knew me in high school. Like, the entire mainstream media machine is designed to launder the lies and hit people that it doesn't like and elevate people that it does like. Now, what you might say, if Susie Wiles is guilty of anything, is why did she bother talking to them? Like, do we not all know that this is exactly what's going to happen? And I think there's some valid criticism there. And by the way, we all get caught in that. You know, I get all these things, BBC and New York Times and not CNN. They never talk to me, but a lot of these outlets still reach out to me. And usually what I do, we ignore or write something kind of snarky back. Or every now and again, I'll say, well, I will respond to you in writing, but nothing else, because we know that they can selectively edit and everything else. And you want to have, as I always say, you want to have receipts. Anyway, this thing comes out, all hell breaks loose online because Susie has been thought of as just so absolutely competent and such a key piece of the Trump administration. So then the Trump warriors went at it and started going after Vanity Fair. Here is Karoline Leavitt.
As for the Vanity Fair article, Michael, I'll take your question directly. This is, unfortunately, another example of disingenuous reporting, where you have a reporter who took the chief of staff's words wildly out of context, did not include the context those conversations were had within. And then further, I think the most egregious part of this article was the bias of omission that was clearly present. And we see a lot of this when dealing with the media every day. You will leave out important context, leave out comments and facts. You know, many people in this building spoke with that reporter, and those comments were never included in the story, probably because it didn't push this false narrative of chaos and confusion that the reporter was clearly trying to push.
You know, it's so interesting what she's saying there. In Don't Burn This Book, my first book, one of the things that I wrote about fake news, and one of the things that I wrote about was that fake news, you know, you think it's, oh, the story's just completely concocted, or it's all anonymous sources, or the headline doesn't match the contents of the article. Like those are kind of the generic or sort of the main ways that you would think that that's what fake news is. But Karoline just referenced what I actually think is the most nefarious type of fake news, which is that it's omission. It's omission, meaning there's something that's happening that's empirically true, it's happening, we all know it's happening, and they just don't cover it. If they don't, the mainstream media doesn't cover the story because it doesn't fit the racial narrative, or in this case, they left out certain things where Susie was doing a great job, or people said nice things about her, et cetera, because that didn't fit the narrative that they were trying to push. And what they were trying to do was push narrative over truth.